Welcome to the Student Housing Insight Podcast, where we are putting you in touch with the people who bring student housing to life. I'm your host, Wesley Dees, and today I'm joined by Greta Dare.
Hello.
Was that your phone that did that?
I'm so sorry. I just turned it off. I'm so sorry.
But it was like perfect timing. It was like...
Actually, I have noisemakers back here for sound effects, specifically for that, just to be like, pay more attention to me, because that sounds like something that I would do and want more attention.
Sounded like an angel got its wings.
That's what happened. Yeah, I have my wings now. Be jealous.
There we go. So anyway, getting back to...
Anyway...
So this is actually the second episode this week on our three-part series covering the fall conference lineup for the student housing industry.
Very exciting. So
in this one, we're talking about LeaseCon, which is a brand new conference that interfaces the sister company to student housing business, which is part of the France Media group of companies. And, just love what those guys do for the industry. And, you and I have had several conversations with people over the past year about, hey, what do you want to see more from, student housing conferences? And, just kind of having that dialogue with a lot of people of, hey, there needs to be something that's focused for the site level positions. And obviously that same dialogue was happening with student housing business as well. And they've certainly stepped up to the plate and are offering something that I think is incredible. And I really hope to see it. A lot of people attend this year, but something that I think can continue to grow year after year and be something very impactful. So anyway, in other news regarding this conference, it's got a couple of special speakers that are going to be there.
I know. I saw that Ryan from Cardinal was going to be there. That's exciting, right? And somebody from Agency 53. That's Kayla. She's in charge of creative. So I am super, super stoked. I'm glad you brought that up, actually.
No, it is a...
wait, are you going to be there? Wait. Are you going to be there?
I am, and I heard that you're going to be there as well.
Don't tell people that. Don't tell people I'm going to be there. But I am very excited you're going to be there, LinkedIn rock star.
Everybody is, just so you know, Greta, I think, is on pins and needles about her presentation that she's doing. But
I might die before it happens.
Well, you are attacking a subject that I know you are very good at explaining to other people, especially new people into the industry, which is tour tactics. There's a whole workshop on that in the afternoon that you're headlining it.
Oh, see, you had to go with the word headlining. Like, I was cool until you said that. And then, but yeah, no, tour tactics I'm super excited about. It's honestly, it's always been one of my favorite things to teach. When I was a leasing consultant, it was something that I loved doing, and I actually was pretty darn good at. So yeah, I am very excited about that particular subject and being able to kind of help people with that, because it can be super awkward. But yeah, let's just, not call it headlining, because I feel like it's weird. Don't make me sound more important.
Yeah. And I am covering, for whatever reason, Rich Kelly chose me to
No, I'm totally cutting this off. This is the thing. When it comes to the LinkedIn part, I think that it's pretty fair to say that you absolutely can teach people these skills. I think that there's a lot to be said about that. You have like a bajillion people that follow you. You have people that interact with you. I feel like this is something that you absolutely get. It's, how to sell yourself. And I think that you know how to break that down for other people. So stop it. I think it's a perfect subject.
Well, and the way that what I'm really excited about talking to folks about is, since Rich and I spoke, and again, Rich Kelly being from, we haven't done a proper introduction yet, but obviously the rest of this podcast is going to be our interview with.
Oh yeah, we haven't even
Rich
covered
Kelly.
That.
Yeah. So,
that's what this is about today.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not all about you and I, Greta. But no, ever since Rich approached me about it, and I had a I really kind of started thinking about, well, how could someone use LinkedIn for the leasing process? And I've actually come up with a few ways. I mean, when I was on site, we certainly didn't have LinkedIn
Did they
to
have
do that.
internet then?
Windows 95 had just come out.
Wasn't the world still black and white at that time? I feel like it was.
Okay. Anyway.
I'm so sorry. Please continue.
Just wait until you hear the interview that we had with the guys from NMHC on their 16th year anniversary of their conference, and the fact that I went to the first one, and I know you're going to give me heck about that one. So anyway.
Heck, I am. I'm gonna give so much heck and heck.
So anyway, back to talking about LeaseCon. Yeah, in LinkedIn, I've actually been researching some ways that people can use LinkedIn to help with leasing, and it is an idea. I don't think anybody's putting it into practice. I think some people are putting it into practice on the conventional side, and I think there's a way that it can work, and it can bring some very quality type of residents in. And what I mean quality are folks that are really going to be a part of your community and can really elevate your community. So looking forward to talking about that.
Well, I think that it's going to be fantastic, which on the same, I didn't get to say this, but I did want to mention that I am ridiculously excited about this conference just in general. I have been since the first minute that I, heard about it. And it's really coming from a place of, I've worked on site, and generally speaking as an on-site person, so speaking for the on-site people, the only conferences that you really, kind of get to go to or be a part of are the local apartment association ones. And in my experience, there isn't a huge focus on student housing. It's really focused towards multifamily conventional. And that can be really frustrating because there's only so much that you can learn at those. So yeah. I was ridiculously excited about this from the moment that I got there. I really hope that a lot of people are being sent. I hope that it's incredible. I hope I don't let anybody down. But also, I hope that we see this for a lot of years to come, because I honestly feel like the student housing industry deserves conferences like this. So that was the only thing I wanted to add, because I didn't get to add that after you were done. So that's all.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get into the interview with Rich Kelly. If you follow the podcast, I had Rich on earlier to discuss their big conference that they do, the Interface Student Housing Conference that they have in Austin every year. They put on a fantastic conference, and I think if be it site level or regional marketing people, traveling marketing specialists, those type of positions. If you're not signed up for this, make sure that you sign up for it. There's certainly a lot of great content that's going to be covered. And additionally, just being in an atmosphere where you can network with other people in similar positions is going to be great, because that's something that this industry has been missing. And I would strongly suggest, because this is a one-day conference, and I mentioned this in the interview, this is a one-day conference, and there are concurrent sessions because of that. So if there's a way that you can make sure that your company is sending 2 people so that you can go
at minimum,
so that you can divide and conquer with the concurrent sessions. And if your company's not that big or for whatever reason can only send one person, make sure you find a buddy, you network with someone on LinkedIn prior, share notes on the conferences or on the sessions that you're not able to go to. Anything else, Greta?
No, I think that was everything.
Well, great. Let's push play, and we'll see you at LeaseCon.
Bye.
Rich, welcome back to the podcast. And as always, thanks for everything yourself and student housing business is doing for our industry.
Well, thank you very much, Wes, for the kind words. More importantly, thank you for having me back. Appreciate the opportunity to talk with you and all of your listeners.
Well, great. The two annual conferences that interface, and I think I'm right in saying that Interface is a SHB sister company under the France Media umbrella. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Gotcha. So, Interface has developed two annual conferences, one for on campus, one for that's, I'd say, a little bit more geared for the privatized side. That those two conferences have just been tremendous in providing, a venue for networking, business development, hearing the annual summaries on the performance, at least from the big players in the space. And now you guys are introducing a new conference called LeaseCon that's taking place in Dallas on September 25th. So just here in a few short weeks. So what does the SHI audience, who's mostly, on-site regional level employees that I think a lot of, I think is really kind of the audience for this event as well, what do they need to know about this new conference?
Well, that's a very good segue because this event is really geared towards those folks. This is kind of it's a new endeavor for us. It's obviously kind of a niche area of leasing. Now, you could say leasing is a niche, but you could also say leasing is the most important aspect of the business because if you don't lease beds, everything else is not going to work. So what we're trying to do is put together a one-day event that's completely different than other things we do, and have it be focused on social media, digital, and traditional marketing strategies for helping, lease beds in the student housing space. So we're going to do a mix of panels. We're going to have, maybe two presenters. We may have some solo presenters. It's going to be different than our usual kind of thing. And I think it will be a different audience too, because it will be folks from properties or regional leasing managers, national leasing managers, things like that.
Well, that's great. I know you and I had a conversation back at one of the other conferences where I said, we're really missing something in this industry for site level folks. So glad to see that you guys recognize that as well and are stepping up and providing something. And I'm sure it will be a success and will continue to grow just like everything else that Interface puts their hands on. At least that's my observation. Maybe you guys may have a different feeling on that, but that's at least my observation. So,
it's been fun. I'll tell you what, it's been fun to do something new. This is a new area. We cover leasing and marketing in the magazine and on the website, but we haven't, done an event on it. So it's been kind of fun to, meet some new people or just kind of have a chance to work more deeply with some of the people we already know and really be able to do something that's right in their sweet space. And then it's also been very gratifying to see the response from the owners and operators because, this event won't work or won't be a success if we don't have leasing and marketing folks from the big owners and operators, as well as medium-sized and smaller owners and operators in attendance. The whole agenda is geared towards them. The whole presentations and is geared towards helping them, lease better. And it's been great to see, like the Price Company registering 8 people to come, and Aspen Heights and other firms just, Cardinal Group just signing on lots of people to attend. So that's been, that tells me that we're doing something right and that we're heading in the right direction. And I think we're going to have a great crowd too.
Absolutely. And I kind of take that as, hey, get your people there because we want this to be a success and something we want to continue year after year. And yeah, I believe everybody will respond to that accordingly for sure. So there is a big focus on social media on the agenda, and it's really set up in a workshop for the most part from what I see from the agenda. One thing I just want, you and I were talking a little bit beforehand on what that was going to look like. And I do want to just kind of give our audience an understanding, those that are attending or planning on attending. Today is August 30th that we're recording this. It should go out in a few days. And, so you're looking at, 20 some odd days before attending this event. This is the time to sit down with whoever's creating the content for your social media. If it's on site, if it's a corporate level, if there's some type of guidelines, meeting with your property manager and your leasing folks to really say, hey, what is it that we want to take away from these workshops so that we can ask the right questions to the folks that are on those panels and come away with a real strategy. Anything else that you would add to that, Rich?
Well, I think if you look at the agenda, we're trying to really cover all aspects. So we've got a big one of the big discussions is going to be on branding, and certainly you could talk for days about branding. We're going to talk about how Instagram can help you drive leases. Same thing with Snapchat. We're going to talk about how live video could and should probably be an integral part of your leasing strategy. One, I think, interesting workshop is going to be on personas and how you can use those in a unique way to drive leasing at your property. There's also all sorts of new trends and tricks and tools in the digital world, whether it's, spectacles, GoPro, virtual reality. How do you best utilize those? Same thing, and kind of tied to the personas are, influencers. How do you get them to help drive referral traffic, drive leasing? So, things like that. And then, just on the social media front, how can you build a real social media sales machine that's working on all cylinders to drive activity in leasing? Same thing, SEO versus paid. Touch on reviews and reputation management, because certainly that ties into leasing. You are going to be our LinkedIn rockstar, Wes, and talk about how LinkedIn can play a role in all this. And then we're going to end the day with some tour tips. How can you best have your folks master the tour part of the presentation? So we hope we're covering, I don't want to say we're covering everything. We hope we're covering everything, kind of the A to Z of leasing, and that folks will walk away saying, all right, I've got some good strategies I can go back and employ at my property or my company to hopefully make us better at what we do and, get more heads in beds at earlier dates and at higher rates.
Yeah, and it is a lot packed into one day in an afternoon, and there's some concurrent sessions that are going on. So, if your company is sending one person from your company to go, I would really encourage you to send two, because you've got the Snapchat session going on the same time the Instagram session is going on. I want to be able to take things away from both of those. So even if you don't have someone else from your company that can be in those other concurrent sessions, I would at least look at that agenda, meet up with some friends, strategize on who's going to what, so that you can come back and compare notes and, try to get the most out of the conference as you absolutely can.
Yeah. It would have been nice to not have any things going on concurrently, but then, the event would be going on, 2 or 3 days, and, people have a limited amount of time out of the office and a limited budget for hotels and travel and all that. So we tried to keep it to one full day with a networking cocktail party the night before. And we're also going to have some roundtables the afternoon before, leading right into the cocktail party. And those will be on topics that, we just couldn't fit in directly into the agenda on Tuesday, the 25th. So we'll have a chance to cover those in roundtables on the 24th. And then it's also a nice segue to jump into the cocktail party. But in terms of, trying to have a couple people there from a company or 3 or even 4 or 5, we tried to take that into account when we devised the event. So we structured our pricing that it's, the price per person falls pretty dramatically when you get up to 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 folks. So hopefully that will allow companies to say, what, let's send 4 people instead of 2, or let's send 6 instead of 3. And we did that for a reason, and we're happy to be able to price it like that, and hopefully, give companies a way to make that work.
Yeah, very good point. I didn't even think about the pricing strategy, lining up with that as well. And yeah, very affordable. I think it starts out at $450 for the first attendee. Anything to go back to the question I started to ask? Is there an expo for this conference this year? I wasn't 100% sure on that.
What we're going to have is, we're not going to have a traditional trade show floor or anything like that, but we will have tabletop exhibits, and it gives companies a chance to have a little bit of an anchor and a presence, and also to have, if they have things they can display or even be running and showing live, it does give folks a chance to have that option. So I suspect we will have, somewhere between 10 and 15 tabletop exhibits, which is great. It's a nice sampling, but it's not overwhelming.
Yeah, because this is directed, towards marketing and leasing. It's going to be sponsors that are, that are going to get the most out of this. You're not going to have to, deal with, someone selling furniture or utility management beside of someone who's doing, reputation management services. I'm assuming.
Yeah, the companies I think that will be present either as sponsors or exhibitors, and attendees for that matter, are people that, that makes sense to be there, that interact with the leasing process in some form or fashion.
Awesome. So last question, where can our listeners go to get more info and register?
Best way is to go to interfaceconferencegroup.com, and you'll see a list of all our interface events and just click on LeaseCon, or go to studenthousingbusiness.com because we have ads running on the website and in our e-newsletter promoting the event. And then, if need be, always happy to just reach out to me directly as well, either via phone or email.
Perfect. And deadlines on the room block, I believe, were September 11th. Is that correct?
Room block deadline is, September 11th, which is coming up a week from Tuesday. And as far as I know right now, there are still rooms at the Westin Galleria. There's also a lot of hotels right around the Westin Galleria of every style, more expensive, less expensive. And so there's no lack of hotel beds in that part of the tollway in Dallas. So certainly won't be hard to find a place to stay at any price point.
Perfect. Well, Rich, thanks again for taking some time out of your day. I know it's crazy here with the end of the month and getting ready for this conference and everything else. So thanks for taking a few minutes out to let our listeners know what's going on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks again, Wes. Really appreciate it, and hope everyone has a great Labor Day.
All right. Look forward to seeing you.
Take care.